And we're live. No more jokes. We have to be
We're
serious
live.
now.
Everyone, stop joking.
I'm wearing flesh tones today, but I'm not naked, and my skin isn't wrinkly like a leather sack.
Why aren't you naked?
All right, for everyone sticking around, we're talking about we're talking about the whole idea of monster races in general, and what point does a monster race stop being a monster and is just basically a human, in my opinion. All right.
Quickly Googles a very racy word.
Well, I was thinking about this because I watched. Go ahead.
Oh, I was just going to say, I really like etymology. And in order to get to the root of an argument, you have to get to the root of the words that are the foundation for the argument. So you need to know what is a race compared to what is a human or what is a monster.
Right.
And that's kind of where you can build up the argument.
Yeah, because
Well, I guess even.
Oh,
Oh,
it has something to do with NASCAR.
Yeah.
No, go ahead.
Because I've been thinking about that more. Because what really defies like a quote unquote like civilized race in D&D? Because that's a really hard to describe term when you really think about it. When if you go by intelligent creature, it was like, well, if that's the case, most of the big monsters are intelligent creatures, but not all of them are really civilized creatures.
Well, it's also
Okay,
because
no,
I think. Oh,
ahead,
go ahead.
Mario.
No, you're good.
We get
I like
philosophical
to go.
today.
Okay. Yeah. So I looked it up, and I think it looks like it might be derived from a division of rivers after they come from a single point. So it's sort of like the genealogical tree of something. It's these branches off of a single flow of, say, a genetic pool. So when it starts to split off a few times, as long as it's in the same region, it is still part of that same race. It's
Okay.
like what features does it share with, say, a human or a humanoid? And
yeah.
what is the, say, like you give someone $1 million to do something, you give someone $10 to do something. What is the cent amount? That's that shift. So I guess that's probably what we're going to try and figure out today is what is not human compared to what is, I guess, or what is not a monster. Is
Yeah.
maybe a better argument.
What's-
Yeah.
Yeah. Because it's like, because in the end, because even the term race isn't like the best for like this situation where it's like these aren't really races. These are more like
Group.
like this is different species.
Species,
They're not
yeah.
they're not human.
Yeah. Families, we could even say. That might be a
Yeah,
good word.
and like because even I guess that's also like a thing of like depending on certain settings. That's why they're most of the time when I have a lot of the humanoids, since they do kind of look very human, like elves and dwarves, for example. It's like a thing where it's just like, yeah, in my settings, it's just like the reason they look like that is because maybe they are like an offshoot of like a human in like some sort of way, like either
Yeah.
something's like
So
magically been messed with or like
how far is too far in terms of monstrous? Because I guess where does it come from, and how is its behavior so different from what is humanoid? I guess. Or-
'Cause-
so, what would you consider monstrous? I guess.
To me, like I was saying, like I was trying to think, like my thought process. Well, of course, it's something that lacks intelligence. But then, like I said, dragons, krakens, all sorts of monsters are intelligent, but usually they
Sapient.
just do not have the same standards, and usually see
Yeah.
smaller races as lesser, and just have no interest in even being in society with them without ruling them.
It's like the same goals and the same methods. I wouldn't say physical
Yeah.
characteristics because there are monstrous
No.
people. It's
yeah, I was about to.
yeah. Go ahead.
No, I was gonna say like, because even the term monstrous, you can use that on people. Like, it's not just like a thing of like there's monstrous races tends to be like I'll use the term like monstrous race when I am trying to describe like something that is very like
Visually,
I guess like
not human, maybe.
yeah, visually, like, because it's like there are certain things. For example, I don't know if I would necessarily look at a flump and automatically go, "Oh, that's fucking monstrous" or something like that.
Yeah.
Because there is like, in a way, obviously it has like a negative connotation, but there's also a level to it too where it's like it doesn't like in the way that I specifically might use it. It doesn't like I sometimes use it as a descriptor, but it's not necessarily with the idea of like, oh, I fucking hate these things. Sometimes I'll look at something and refer to it as a monstrous race, but it's kind of like the same reason that you like a villainous looking character. It's like the same thing of like, I'll look at Venom and I'm like, oh, that guy's definitely monstrous looking.
Yeah.
But I it's not like a thing of like, I don't like him for the sense of like, oh, he's fucking evil or something like that. It's more like, dude, he looks sick as shit. He looks fucking cool.
I think monstrous is just kind of derived from what is hostile to you or your
Okay.
way of life. Comparatively, what is something that can encroach on and change your nature negatively or in a way that you cannot relate to? Like
Yeah,
Venom
'cause-
is exactly that.
I feel that
Oh yeah,
kind of just
Venom
becomes-
eats people.
Yeah. And
Yeah,
he,
it kind
like,
of becomes a descriptor
consumes-
at that point, since like even like other humanoid races that are just aptly at war with yours could be considered
act
monstrous in that
monstrously,
sense because
yeah.
their actions. Well,
So
like if you,
I would say anything that's like armed to the teeth or the way that it moves sort of lends to the potential that like a goblin skittering through the darkness.
Oh,
That's
yes.
a little monstrous to me because I
That's
don't
scary,
know what the fuck
yeah.
he's doing there. He's probably dangerous.
Because that also, I guess,
Because why is he
Talking
doing
on-
otherwise?
what's he building down there? But fucking, because I think the fun thing, I think like the separation that happens a lot more now as opposed to like things in the past is there is a point where I feel like when a creature has the ability to literally communicate, like it can talk, you don't necessarily have to have it automatically, like, because it's like a thing of there are moral grays that you can have for most things. So it's like
Communication
it's not-
is not a standard for ethics at all. If it can talk,
Or
that
go-
doesn't mean it has your best interest in mind.
No, not at all.
Yeah.
But it's like a thing of it's more like a situation of if it can talk, you could probably come to maybe agreements with it
Maybe,
potentially.
Yep.
But
Yeah,
it,
it opens a door. Okay.
yeah, there's an
It opens
option
a
instead.
door.
It's on site.
it opens a door, but then again, there's also like certain things that are outright like in the end, it's like there are certain creatures where it's like okay, they don't necessarily have to be like straight up evil. Like there's a thing of like the alignment chart does not necessarily apply to
That's why they
certain
dropped
things.
it. Definitely not
But-
for individuals.
There's certain creatures where I feel like these things kind of do apply in the sense of like a demon or something like that. It's like this thing is literally malicious, like outright
By
malicious.
Yeah.
Yes, by nature.
And not just the culture it comes from, but the divided plane. So anything extraplanar, that's a monster. Without a doubt,
Yeah.
without a shadow of a doubt, that is a monster. It does not
Yes.
have your best interest in mind. And more than likely, it doesn't even know
Celestials.
what your best interest is. Yeah, that's what I'm saying, is it doesn't know what you want, or it doesn't care. And that's a monster.
Yeah.
So I'd like to maybe kind of drop that pretense of individuality and drop a little bit more on not stereotypes, but generalizations about these types of races that a player could play. Like kobolds. They're
Yes.
not really monstrous, but they're thieves. And they're not, I mean, slaver, obviously, that's monstrous. So anything that comes into that, humans,
Nyogi.
I think humans by default actually are monsters compared to other
Kinda,
races.
yeah.
I've definitely
thinking
met some
about it.
humans
It is-
that act a
yeah.
monster in this world.
Well, it's like a funny thing of I've had the conversation with some people on like the things of like, oh, like slaver races or something like that. And it's like a thing of like, well, I mean, people do that a lot. And it's like a thing of when you think about it in that lens, people are kind of sometimes the worst fucking species in some of
Yeah.
these settings.
In a species sense, humans are one of probably the few types of creatures that engage in that behavior, and we have not been able to drop it on a global scale.
Uh-huh.
We can't get rid of it. Just like we can't get rid of war. So we are inherently dangerous to ourselves.
Yay.
Whereas kobolds,
Who's the real
thinking
monster?
about it,
Little guys.
they're mysterious.
And like
They're like ants. They can't operate on such a massive scale that affects things to
'Cause there
a
is-
dangerous detriment.
there is a level to things where it's like sorry if you're gonna add something, Chuck.
No, y'all going at it. Keep going.
There's a level to things where it's oh god,
Oh,
oh Jesus,
he's getting
I think the kobolds got Mario.
oh no, what the hell is going on? My fucking thing freaked out. Hold on.
Yeah, you're.
Hello.
He's
There we
we're
go.
good.
Whatever. All right.
Kobolds got Mario.
Fuck
We'll
it
be
up.
right back.
So, goblins and kobolds, reasons why they tend to be enemies is usually like it's more of a happenstance kind of thing where it's like these are creatures that are probably not in the best of situations, so they tend to probably like it's like maybe resorting to stealing or like pillaging and like doing all this sorts of stuff is
So there's
more out of
makes
yeah,
sense, the monster. Okay.
because you can have situations where it's like but this also has to do with like a situation of where they come from kind of thing, so it's like this isn't necessarily me saying like this is why they're not monstrous kind of thing. It's more like, if anything, the reason that they are in that kind of category of being typical enemies is just because it's like, yeah, they're from shitty areas. It's like, look at the Underdark itself. It's such a dog eat dog world kind of thing. That's why so many of them. That's why like a ton of them are the way that they are. It's like less of a thing of like drow or outright evil, and it's more of just like there's a lot of layers to shit.
Yeah.
Wait.
There are layers to drow, but their culture is inherently malicious, and that's just how they're raised, and the religious purposes that like it's not safe to be near a drow generally.
And if Lolth is real, then it's also
And
like a thing
everything's
of like,
bad,
it's like it's like you can't just be your typical drow guy and just be like, you know what, I'm not gonna be like this, because then it also results in things of like, when you do try to go like, I'm gonna be better, it's like immediately like 5 people are beating the shit out of you.
Yeah.
That's
Feed
why
you
we
to a
have
spider,
rules.
turn you into a drider.
No, yeah. Removes your balls.
Gives you abdomens.
Ha ha ha.
You have a thorax now, fucking idiot.
Get
Cringe.
thoraxed.
Cringe. Get thorax.
All the drow women come in, they go, ladies laugh at him, and they all go, ha ha ha. You spill your spaghetti on the ground.
Oh, shoot silk out of your thorax. Guys, stop.
I shot silk out of my thorax, and they all laughed at me.
You made me silk.
They said my silk was weak and wet.
Well,
But oh, what were you gonna say?
I'm just going to continue on that same stupid tangent. But yeah, we talked about that in a previous video. Just, I think all of us agree the entire idea of a race being born evil is stupid. But generally, just where their upbringing is, that's more what shapes it than just the fact they were born that race.
Because there's also other stuff of like, I don't know, this is me, because I know some species of things exist in certain settings, but it's because I don't know much about the Thri-kreen like off the top of my head, but that's like something that's like super alien. So it's a thing of like,
But they're
you
not
might
aliens. They're insectoid, aren't they?
well, no, it's more like
Yeah.
alien in the sense of like they're so separate from us
Yeah.
that they think in a different way. Like it's like
Lizard folk are like that too.
though that too, where it's like, for example, it's like practicing in like quote unquote cannibalistic kind of acts, where it's like more in the sense of like, to them they'll eat a human because, I mean, why not? That's free. That's meat.
Yeah,
but like
it's practical.
Yes.
It's a good time to do that. You need to sometimes.
Oh yeah.
I'm hungry, and he's tasty man thing. So
but
it's just like
But that doesn't necessarily mean they're going to cannibalize everything they see, like King Shark. They might know, like, okay,
No,
even though I want to do this, this is wrong.
they're
Even
opportunistic,
yeah,
Yeah.
which isn't bad. It's definitely not ethical compared to what we see. I think humans
Yeah.
are a familial and tribal species. We like our groups, and the group's best interest takes priority over our own personal interest, and
Yes.
that's where the idea of being a good person is derived from, is taking care of the people you care about. Other species don't have that. Thrycree don't have that.
yeah.
Generally, goblins don't really have. Well, hobgoblins and stuff do, but like,
The hobgoblins wrangle everybody in to
Yeah.
work together.
and it's not even for them or their family. Usually, it's for like the praise of their deity or their war that they're waging or whatever.
Uh-huh.
But
For
so
the
that
glory
they
of the
have
kingdom.
at least a relatable group mentality where a lizard folk doesn't.
Yeah.
So I guess lizard folk would have to be monstrous on that
Yeah,
spectrum.
Yeah.
They definitely skirt the line, like, because I feel like the whole idea of monster races is kind of strange when I feel like if we're going to classify something as monstrous, as we've talked about, they're actively hostile, like giant otherworldly creatures that they're coming to get you and your soul.
Yeah. Like, because there's levels to certain things where it's like, I like monstrous kind of things in settings sometimes. Like, there there's like points with stuff where it's like I like there being an easy enemy to or like I like there being like a point where it's like, you know, that the thing that you're fighting is like negative
Toxic,
to you.
dangerous, bad, deadly.
Yeah, bad.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's like a thing of like, when you fight a bunch of goblins that attacked you, it's like a situation where it's like you're not sitting there just going like, "Oh my god, I killed all these people," kind of thing. It's just more like, I had to defend myself. I was fucking getting.
Yeah,
Oh.
it's thank God I did that, and now I'm not a slave to a bunch of goblins for the rest of my life.
Yes,
Like, that's
uh-huh.
what it is.
Yeah, because I know that's something I feel you need a good balance of in D&D. You don't need just constant villain with very complex morals where you have to think really hard about it before you ever
Yeah.
decide to even fight them. Sometimes it's fun just to have a Saturday morning cartoon villain.
Yeah,
Well, it's like-
sometimes.
It's like I don't know. I have like currently in my campaign, the players are dealing with like Yuan-Ti, so it's just a thing where it's like, there's a situation where they're in a city, and there are like, this city has like rules that has allowed like other kind of species to enter the city like freely, and so since there are some kind of species that are kind of monstrous looking, there is a point where the Yuan-Ti end up being able to like pass through, where they have like straight up like snake-headed fucking dudes like walking in, and it's like, to some people it's like, well, they look kind of weird, but I mean, you know, it's not like I'm gonna fucking, they got let in here, so I'm not gonna just like start a fight with somebody. But like, the players outright know, oh no, these are like evil fucking cultists. Like, these are these are bad. And so it's like a fun thing of, the party doesn't have too much of a dilemma dealing with them, because there are also times where it's like they interrogated one in like one of my last sessions, and it's this thing of, after interrogating them, they tried to be nice and be like, "What are you gonna do after this? Like, where are you going?" And it's this thing of, I guess this has more to do with this is less of a looks thing, and it's more just like their background kind of thing. But it's like a situation of, this is a zealot. Their ideals are strong aligned with this thing. They believe that their deity is going to like surpass like these other people. Like, it's like they're fully in the right. So it's like this thing of like, if you let them go, they're gonna go back to their friends, and they're gonna fucking tell them, "Hey, I saw them over here," or some shit. Or
Would do. It's not weird.
yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
It's not evil.
Like, even the same happened in that same campaign. There was a point like super early on, players were fighting goblins, and there was like a goblinoid army that they were dealing with, and they got a warg, and they were talking to the warg, and they were like, "Hey, we're gonna let you live, but we're gonna like you gotta work with us," kind of thing. And so the warg was like, "Okay, sure." And so they went towards a fort, and he goes, "Okay, everybody in here is probably sleeping right now. We're gonna go in the back way. You're gonna come in with me. Like one guy, just come with me. I'm gonna tell them that you're like a captive that I got." And we're gonna like if they see us, I'll tell them you're my captive. If they don't notice us, we could kill a couple of them in their sleep. And he's like, that sounds like a good idea.
They didn't do any precautions or anything, like no blade
Nope.
to his neck. Oh,
And it was a thing where it's like the warg, because like the guy that he was with was a fucking gnome. So it's like this thing where it's like the warg goes in, he goes, "Yeah, you could step right in." Gnome goes in, and he like sees the people, so he's getting ready to fucking like slit throats. And it's this thing of like the warg shuts the door behind him, and he just screams loud as fuck. Like everyone gets up, and he's like, "Why the fuck? What are you doing?" And the guy's like, "I'm gonna fucking kill you." And he like lunges at the dude, and he's like,
fucking perfect. That's awesome.
And it's like,
I've known
dude,
you
of
for
course.
2 days. These are my friends.
I knew you.
My
It's like the
family.
same. You killed my brothers, you son of a bitch.
I love that so much.
That is amazing. Yeah, because
And that's like I guess in this sense too, it's like a thing of even if this was humans that they were dealing with, it's still like a situation where it's like that whole situation still makes sense. If you just slaughtered a bunch of, if you're clashing with like an army or something, you slaughtered a bunch of their dudes, and then you're like, "Hey, if we let you live, you gotta work with us and like fight your friends," and they're like,
no,
"Okay."
let's go.
Looking for an opportunity is not an evil thing to do when you're a captive.
No.
That's just smart. That just means you're not giving up.
If anything, in your mind, these people are evil.
Yeah,
For sure. And that's what I'm saying is monstrous is based on the individual or the community's perspective.
It's all a point of perspective. If anything, like it's like
We're monstrous
I think the only
shoulders. They cry at night when they think about us. They're like,
yeah.
I cry at night when I think about us too.
me too. I'm like,
Man,
if you guys want to race through like some monstrous races and deem them based on their culture,
I think I like that.
Mordenkainen has a bunch of them. Does anyone know anything about Aarakocra? They just seem like sky people. They look.
Aarakocra,
Yeah.
they're like they're mostly just sky people. They just live in the mountains, kind of thing.
The tropical ones in Chult were pretty cool, actually. They were kind of like sort of the guardians of the island in a way. Like, I know that was a cool subplot you have with them, is they're actually protecting like these noble tribes people in the island.
I think that was in like Firefinger, if I remember. There's like that little spire that they're hanging
Yeah,
out.
yeah.
They're like, oh, we're chilling. So I would say no for them.
Yeah, Aarakocra seem overall chill.
Genasi,
once
I would say yes. I would say they're monstrous.
I'd say
You have
fire
plainer
and
blood in you.
fire and stone, definitely. Water and air, air ones seem kind of chilled.
You're treating them like benders. That's actually fair.
Well, I mean, they kind of like, because if you're looking off of the like genie kind of connection,
Yeah.
even then, like genie wise, even with like the air genie or something like that, it's like they're very alien mindset kind of thing. So it's like a thing of they're nicer to people, but they still view people as property at times. It's just like a thing of like,
They just can't
I
relate.
like you.
That
You're
makes
coming
them a
with
little
me.
Weird.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
I would
'cause
say. Oh, go ahead.
Fire and earth, 100%. Like, cause just like the city of Brass being a very evil place, so fire definitely.
Oh, yeah.
Earth. I'm pretty sure the one settlements on the Earth plane pretty bad as well, but airplane overall kind of chiller and the more positive side of things, at the least. Like,
Yeah, they're detached, so they're not hostile. So that's fair, actually.
yeah, it's not on site like the for them in my mind. I could be wrong.
Okay, ASMR. I'm going to say monstrous. If you have god blood, like good blood, you're probably attacking people based on their ethics.
Yeah,
Yeah,
you
good one.
like you get like a fucking you get a
for
celestial
tiefling.
in your fucking head
Well,
in your dreams, basically, like just telling you, hey,
Mm.
go
yeah,
go
yeah.
like
Yeah.
do God's will kind of thing.
Yeah, then the Scourge ones, they just have light exploding out of them at all times, like they're freaking got Alan Waked.
Yeah.
Have literally like the fucking
Yeah,
bone wings one too. The fucking
those are cool.
Oh, those
I,
rock.
I I think tieflings are off limits. I don't like how they're written in the game. I
Really?
think they're super insulting and bad.
well, because I
Because
think
it's like, oh, these people get marginalized all the time, but they're just people. It's like, are they people or are they demon blood people? Like,
because
what's the
this
difference?
is like
I understand a lot. Go ahead.
oh, I was
Go
gonna
ahead.
say like the best way that I look at a lot of these like Genasi, Azamar, and Tieflings. The way I like classify them is they are plain touched, and this is more like a it's more like a thing of
They're
I
demon
view
blood.
them as because they can be like born from like a human being or like sometimes I like the idea of like oh this could be like straight up I don't know you were like a orc's child or something like that and you came out a tiefling or an SMR or something. So it's like
Yeah.
a it's this idea of these things are at their core like whatever original species they were,
Yeah.
but the thing that's happened to them is basically some kind of planar energy warped them in a certain way or like it's changed them.
So then, yeah, that would kind of destroy any argument I had against that, where ASMR and Tieflings and Genasi, they don't have a culture. They don't have a moral compass that like seeps into any existing thing where they can be generalized.
Yeah.
They're individuals, so you can't classify them as monsters or non-monsters, because more than humans, they have the potential to be anything. I think.
Yeah. And it's well cuz there's also that thing as well where it can cuz there are examples of basically tiefling versions of other things like it makes me think of a if you're familiar with the Tanaruk. Um that is basically an orc that
Oh
has
yeah.
been like deemed like
Oh
blessed by
yeah.
Baphomet. So it's like a thing of like that's basically a tiefling. So there's like an orc tiefling thing that came out, and it's basically like now like kind of minotaur like, and the main thing that happens with it is because it has this abyssal energy to it, it's now super aggressive and just like it still has that core kind of like
It
there is
augments
still
the inherent
yes
barbarism that orcs are supposed to have by definition. An orc is
yes
a big green Hulk guy that is Attila the Hun.
Yeah.
That's
yes
all we need them to be. At like make unique peoples. I don't know. Make something new. Don't fuck with orcs. They exist. Either put them to bed or use them as they are. I guess. I don't know. I don't have a big stake on that, but like
I
orcs
like
are just they are simple tribal people who like being tribal. They like
yeah
having a very kind of mundane almost culture, but it works for them. There's no need to what's the word? Assimilate their culture, I guess.
yeah
Yeah.
because there's
Just
like
because
levels
it's
to that.
inherently slightly dangerous to any people who are trying to build settlements in the area, you are just a big tree full of fruit for them to pick from. That's their
Is it
perspective. Yeah, it just conflicts. That's it.
it makes me think of it's like one of those things where I really love Volo's Guide, where it's just like I like all the little cultural segments that they
Oh,
have
those are
of
so good.
goblins
It's
and
super
orcs
good.
and stuff, because in a way by like having that you stop thinking of them as just outright like you know the classic D&D idea of like oh monster kind of thing where
Yeah.
it's just like you
Killer.
have just aggressive evil kind of things and it's more like oh the reason they're like this these are their background this is like their ideology this is how they think like this is their like social structure kind of thing and it's like it's fun in that sense of it puts you less in the mindset of just like oh these are fucking evil monster things and it's more like these are a type of people that have like their own kind of ideals of stuff and you know This even with normal people, it's like you have conflicting ideals on certain things as well, and it causes conflict. And it's like and like the conflict doesn't necessarily have to outright be like a violent one. Usually it is, but it's like a thing of
Violent is what makes adventure. That's exciting. That's why we
yes,
have
exactly.
attack moves. That's what the game is. It
Yeah.
doesn't need to be this big like written story.
Yeah. And
That's
it's
fun
like
to do.
and that's also like very much the option of the players kind of thing. It is a route to go down, and it's like a thing of it's like the same reason why people like I had my whole spiel earlier of like the yuan T that got captured, and they were just like, okay, we can't just let you go. But it's also like in that same vein too. There are times where you can just pick up a goblin, and it's just like, well, I mean, I've just been doing this because this is all I really had an option for. Uh, I hung out with you guys for like a little bit, but like I guess if I stick around with you guys are way stronger than my buddies, so I don't
Yeah.
really give a
Yeah,
fuck.
yeah.
If I stick with you, I live longer, and it's like you get that option of just like, well, now you have like a cool little goblin buddy.
Yeah, I love that scoundrel culture where they're non-communal. They're like cats. Goblins
Yeah.
are kind of like cats, where it's like I will hang out with whatever gets me my best life. I don't
Yes.
give a fuck about my family. I will like eat you at the drop of a hat if I need to, if it's convenient. And that's not like evil. My cat's kind of a monster, but I wouldn't classify him as like something I have to exterminate. That's not it's
Exactly.
different.
That Goblins is cats. That's way too perfect.
I would definitely say the Gith are too different.
That
I respect their
guess-
culture, but in
Yeah.
comparison to the Central Plane and the humanoid races that live there, they are not safe to interact with.
yeah, get the Yankee.
No.
Heck yeah, Gif Sarai. They're the ones that say you can actually
Yes,
interact
so.
with, but
Which is funny because in Baldur's Gate, the Githyanki Kai are the ones who hang out with you, and the Gith Zerai are the ones who
Yeah.
hit you on sight.
Well, it's like because they have even in
I thought the
Baldur's
one named
Gate,
Gif Sarai
you
in
have
Baldur's
like
Gate.
What was
yeah,
that?
there it is.
There is.
There's
Yeah.
Gith Sarai.
There's a few. They are the ones invading and attacking the Emperor that whole time.
Yeah.
And there is a brain that you can
Oh!
hook up to the Mind Flayer area
yeah.
that is a Gith Zerai who will talk to you, but that's it.
Okay.
Yeah. And it's like because even like in Baldur's Gate, the main thing that happens too is like you have Lae'zel, who's the outlier that's willing to like work with you, and
Yeah.
they're being very nice for a Githyanki, and
Like
it's-
she's not really mean when you
No.
consider her perspective. Where she's coming from, she is very super nice.
she's actually
everyone's
being
like, "What the fuck?
super
You're so-
nice.
She's
to
being
you."
very
Yeah.
reasonable.
When you think about her actions compared to her words and how she puts her perspective, it's drastically different, but it's not ill-intended. Almost never.
Yeah.
Yeah.
If anything, it's just like I remember seeing some video where they gave like I'm sure people in the comments, but it's like a thing of that whole like perspective of Lae'zel is going out of her way to help you, a nobody that she just met, and she's like, "Come with me. We're gonna get this fixed. I know a cure. I'm going to share it with you, random
Yeah.
stranger."
The fact that she vouches for you at the Githyanki crash
Yes.
is like, whoa! That's so unheard of. And the fact that they accept it means that she has like value in their society.
Yeah.
Yeah,
huh.
it seems to always be kind of respect as well, where you've earned her respect by that point, and she wants you to actually make it.
And it's like even you compare that to the tiefling that you interrogate at the druid camp. Like remember how like it's like, oh, there's apparently like a tiefling that's at the camp, and they ask him
Yeah,
like, where the other Gith are, and he goes into like this whole explanation of like, yeah, my friend saw the Gith, and like they fucking sliced his belly open like immediately, and like even Lae'zel jokes, she's like, oh, no twisting kind of thing, and it's like, well, yeah, because they're very sadistic. Like sometimes it's like a fucking.
And it's not like gross to them because they probably
No.
don't suffer germs or anything. This is just like sort of a pride and an art form where
And they
just like,
revel in it too. It's
yeah,
like this.
their culture is based around hunting. So when they just passively hunt things, it's definitely monstrous, but I guess that's what I would deem. This is a kind of a weird argument around things where it's just like, yeah, we get why every monster would fucking slaughter us.
Yes,
And I do.
Because in the end,
I guess how malicious they are.
there's root reasons why.
It's should you kill them immediately?
Yeah.
Yes.
Or not.
It's like it is. I guess because I like this topic in the sense of potentially there could be a point where you could meet like again, it's like the thing I was bringing up where it's like if you could talk to the thing, there is potential that maybe you could come to an agreement, but there's also other things where it's like it makes me think of like fucking Nyogi, for example, where it's just like everybody just knows no, don't talk to that guy, don't look at him, don't even you steer clear.
Yeah. There's sort of a 3-point perspective where there's you cannot talk to it, but it can talk to you, or maybe a 4-point. It can talk to you. It needs to die before you leave. And then there's stuff where it has no idea who you are or what you're like or what you want. But if you can find a common ground and agree to disagree, it is not hostile to you. And lizard folk fit that bill perfectly.
Yeah.
They don't get what you're talking about, but if you can try to understand them and learn them, that's like teaching a cat. It's
Think
like
smooth skin.
yeah, like a cat can kind of teach you in the same way of like, this is what it values, this is what it will work with, and this is shit it doesn't care about. You're not going to agree, and you can't, but you can still be friends. And then there's like the heartfelt creatures that you fall in love with, basically. And then there's the guys where you can't talk to them and you should kill them.
Yeah. Or it's like a mind flayer, like if
A spider, no.
like even using the Baldur's Gate example, it's like that thing of even
Don't do it.
When one of the characters turns into a mind flayer, it's just like a thing of there's that deep nature of you. This isn't even like it's a thing of inherently you're not really yourself anymore. You are some other thing.
When you become a mind flayer, it is a slope. You will lose yourself over time. It's like mold growing on a piece of cheese left out. It's like you can be yourself and you can try to retain that and fight that, not forever.
Yeah,
like a zombie.
Like
a fucking zombie.
And in the end, mind flayers are just kind of tools of a brain or of like one of the brains. It's like you aren't meant to be an individual. You're just meant to be a body another vessel that this thing operates and uses for its own
structure.
Yeah, because honestly, running into a companion that's been mind flared in the epilogue of Baldur's Gate is just tragic.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
All right, what's the next one?
Oh yeah, I was jumping around a little bit here. We can kind of fast through these. I don't know how much time we have.
Yeah.
Gnomes. Wicked.
Monsters. Hate them. Kill them.
Okay.
Dwarves.
I like their capitalism. Yeah.
Yeah, dwarves. They're
in
the industry monsters, but regular. Their hustle grind is monstrous.
Yeah. They're clan based. They're familial based.
Wait, clan? No.
Wait.
Wait.
Can you spell that out for me? Can you spell that, please?
What does that start with?
Fae, like Eladrin fairies. I'm gonna say they're definitely monstrous.
Yeah.
They do not have my interest in mind. They don't know what I think about, and they will not respect it.
That dude's gonna fucking like. He's gonna play a practical joke or his idea of a practical joke, and it's gonna be like a thing of like. Tell me these riddles 3, and they just stab you with a syringe and like inject you with like
a big
pesticide or something.
Yeah, pesticide.
They inject you with like a black ooze.
They won't string you up like some of these other sick creatures, and they won't eat you, but they'll set like a definitely deadly trap. Like they'll do the hand buzzer, but it's just full of 3 lightning bolts. They'll be like, "Hey," and then you'll die, and they'll be like, "That was weird."
Yeah.
Huh.
Pranked.
That's fucking. That's a monster.
Skadoo, skadee! If you must now drink my pee.
You are forever a poodoo.
They have go gadget powers.
Oh god.
Go gadget. You're dead now.
I think Goliaths and to an extent Goblinoids kind of fit that bracket where it's like they don't relate to you. They never fully will because you are warring groups. But you can come to like an agreement that has another angle to it.
Because Goliaths are interesting in that not to like stay on them too long. It's just like a thing of there are layers of them where initially I thought of them as just like, oh, they're just basically big people, but it's like or big humans or something. But it's more like, oh no, they do have like there's like levels of them where they are kind of different. I feel like for Goliaths it's more of a cultural kind of thing. Like it's more like the
they have kind of a giant culture. I think they pertain to the ordning to some tiny degree.
Yeah,
to some extent.
I'd say with goblins, orcs, and Goliaths, it all depends on what their major source of influence is. Like,
yes,
for goblins, who's ruling them? For Goliaths, same, and also for
are
orcs.
they religious?
Yeah, what deities influencing the orcs?
How religious are they?
Yeah, like non-religious orcs, probably not monstrous, but religious orcs, oh yeah.
Yeah. Orcs are kind of in that same group of Goliaths and goblins where it's like we can reason with you depending on the current like climate in both of our cultures together right now.
Yeah.
Like, do you need resources that we have? Because then we can't. That's just how it works. Kobolds. I'd
feel
say
like
they're
they're
monstrous, but they're not fully malicious.
Yeah,
because I think
misunderstood.
the thing to kobolds is the main idea of why I think that they act the way that they do is like deep down somewhere in them they are like dragons, like some kind of ancestor to dragons, and it's kind of like that deep down feeling of, you know, I am better than you.
It's kind of different from what I've understood with kobolds. It's like my blood is better than you, but it spites me. I'm worse than you, and I'm gonna make you pay for it. You motherfucker.
Yes, it's like I should be better. It makes me think of that fucking meme of like fucking. It's like a kobold like cheering, and he has the fucking spear over his head, and it's
the
like,
magic card.
Yeah, it's the magic card. It's just like a God shrunk me because he knew I was too powerful or something like that.
That's awesome. That's awesome.
Yeah.
Minotaurs. I don't know too much about them. Mario ruled this one.
Yeah, I know. I would say,
Mario
depending on
decks,
what
go.
kind of stuff, where it's like, for me, I feel Minotaur. I think the fun thing with Minotaur is they have an ability to fight their nature, but their nature outright is connected to Baphomet, and that is like straight up like demonic connection kind of thing. And that's also like, I like the distinction between like, there are straight up the monster Minotaur, which are like massive as fuck and like just outright like kind of animalistic, versus the like player race Minotaur, and that's more of like, I deem that as there are Minotaur that gave into their nature, and there are Minotaur that learned to fight their nature.
There's cool reasoning behind that. I like that.
Still rooted in the fact that their nature is inherently
like
destructive. Yeah,
a malicious kind of thing. So I would deem them monstrous.
Yeah. Satyrs. I could speak to this one. Fucking monsters.
100%.
Absolute nightmares. Kill satyrs on sight, even though they can be your friends. Like, hang out with them for... Have like a 2-hour timer when you meet them, and then slit their throat. Just
it's the Fae background. It's the like...
Yeah, it's the Greek Fae back. That's...
Yes.
They're not safe.
Spike one of their drinks with rat poisoning and let the problem solve itself after a while.
Cyanide.
If he lives, he is weakened somewhat temporarily.
Poison his next drink with razor blades and bullets and
become Metallica.
The full spectrum of elves. Chuck, I'll let you take this one.
I would definitely say, for the most part,
elves.
they're fine. Like, I was about I can only really see the instances where they would be is like if you really wrote them to be like a real savage group of wood elves or like a really high and mighty group of high elves.
Yeah.
Hmm.
Yeah,
So as close to humans as you could get. I guess that's kind of how they're written.
Yeah.
pretty much.
Tabaxi. And I'll say turtles are in the same group because I feel like we can kind of classify them the same.
Okay, Knowles, 100% monstrous.
Oh,
Tabaxi,
easy.
to kind of silly little guys. Like I remember even like that was the thing in Cholt where there was that one Tabaxi that went crazy and was kind of an outlier because he would hunt
Bag
you
of
on
nails.
sight. But
Well, like,
I know that guy's name.
a bag of nails.
Yeah.
oh yeah.
Yeah.
I was gonna say fucking with, like, because you brought up Knowles. I was just like, oh, Knowles are like the same boat as Minotaur, except way worse. Where it's
Yeah,
just
it's
like,
worse.
it's like fucking. At least with Minotaur, it's like, oh, I came from people, so I still have that human nature that's also buried deep inside of me. Versus a fucking Knoll is, I got ripped out of a fucking hyena and I'm gonna kill you.
Yeah.
Hyenas are just nightmare creatures. I knew about the
Yeah.
whole pseudo wiener thing. I didn't know they gave
Whoa.
birth through it.
Oh yeah,
I didn't
and they
know.
sometimes it fucks up.
Yeah,
It splits open like
So-
a banana and it comes out.
just
Yeah.
kill all gnolls out of mercy. I would say Tabaxi and Turtles, they don't even need to interact with people unless they want to, and they don't have anything to gain from people. So they're sort of kind of in that unique pocket of they don't really want to be friends with you.
Indifferent.
Yeah.
To them, we could be monstrous,
Yeah.
but like
But-
it doesn't go back the other way.
There's a level to Turtles that I really like. That's a thing that I always like about them. Is it's like it's nice to have that mix in between everything. It's like these guys are just kind of mellow. Like they just
Yeah.
they're
Oh,
chill.
oh wait, did you say turtles and tabaxis?
Yeah.
Turtle, yeah.
I thought
Turtle.
you said knolls and tabaxis for some reason. but-
Yeah, yeah.
Oh, no, yeah, Turtles.
I for a second I was like, oh man, I really misheard Knoll.
Yeah, no.
Okay, yeah. Turtles,
Right.
I don't know a lot about them inherently, but I'd like to imagine they're chill. I mean, they're big old
That's
turtles.
all that they are. They're just
Yeah.
chill.
Yeah, because I mean, even
Which is-
in real life, turtles, like the most dangerous snapping turtles, you got to go out of your way to make them mad.
Yeah.
It's like
To give a brief breakdown, which is just I don't know who's on the writing team. No shade to them. You know how long turtles and tortoises live?
Okay,
Like,
that is
oh
so
my
stupid.
God,
I know where
yeah,
you're going
right?
with
Years
this.
like
longer
it's
than-
like, dude, why are they just like 50 years?
Yeah, they live for 25 minutes and they go on an adventure and they die.
Yeah,
that's
that's-
their whole race. Makes
One of
no
the things
sense.
I homebrewed that my turtles live literally to 1,000 years. Like,
Same.
it's-
Fuck made that choice.
yeah,
Well,
just
it's like, and there's
probably some bitter executive who's like, I bought a turtle for my son and he was allergic, so he broke its neck, and now I think turtles die soon.
I fucking snapped that tortoise's neck.
yeah.
Well, there's also there's a layer to turtles too, where I find it interesting that they speak Draconic, where it's like that tends to be with a lot of the reptilian kind of races, and it's a thing of I kind of view that as more like maybe they have dragon origins, which could make sense. Dragon turtles exist, but
Yeah.
it's still I kind of like that they don't necessarily have that dragon nature about them. They're just fucking like mellow dudes.
Yeah. Yuan-Ti.
Monstrous.
Evil. That's
That's a cult.
monstrous.
Okay.
Evil.
this-
Tritons.
okay.
Mm.
They're
We have a
good.
few
I mean,
They're
they might be a little haunty about it, but they want to
They're
destroy evil.
They're shitty prudes, but they want like for life to be preserved. They're
Yeah.
just
they want the
bad
best.
about- Yeah, so that's kind of one of those interesting approaches where we've given other groups a lot of flack because they're like they want to attack us, and we're like, I know what you really want. These
Yeah, they-
guys are like, I don't give a shit about you, and it's like
They could
I think
easily-
the crazy thing about go ahead.
They could easily attack you for a misunderstanding, especially if you got a morally gray
Yeah.
party. But I would say, as a whole, they're not like inherently dangerous to mankind.
Not really.
I think the difference between a lot of the other ones is more the maliciousness comes from a more selfish kind of thing,
Mhm.
whereas Triton are meant to be
they have
outright selfless kind of.
Yeah,
Like,
they have like a quest, and they less embody themselves, and they're more like, look, this quest that is going to happen, this vision I have in my head of how it goes. I'm not me. I'm just doing that until it's done.
I am merely trying to do things for the benefit of everyone, not just me. And if anything, the main
can you fuck off about it? It's kind of
yes, and that's
Yeah.
where that comes into. Is like that's where the assholish nature comes in, where it's just like, so let me do my fucking job, dude.
yeah.
For real. And I want to double back to UNT real quick, and just my opinion on them. The reason I'm pretty hard pressed in considering them full on monsters. Suppose the least bad thing most of the races we mentioned today will do is a highwayman of that race will steal your boots. The least bad thing a UNT will do to you is forcibly turn you into a lizard monstrosity.
If given the chance, they'll be like, yeah. I guess we have 3 more to run through if you want.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
All the way.
Yeah. Hippo people.
The hippos.
Ooh,
Oh.
I love GIF. Yeah.
Korean warriors.
I don't want to imagine them being hostile. I want to have a beer with them.
They work for coins, so they're kind of just dwarves.
Yeah, they're mostly mercenaries, so
Yeah.
I'd say it depends, because that's what I was wanting to classify them in, is under who they're under, what the climate is, as you're saying.
Okay.
Yeah.
Plasmoids.
They're pretty
Neutral,
chill, aren't
I
they?
would say.
I would just
Neutral?
I would cook one. I would eat one. That's all I have to
Yeah.
say about them.
Lios!
They're
I'm gonna
I
slurp them
think I
up.
did a video or a segment in the video about them. They're the most disappointing fucking race ever designed.
Yeah.
Leonins.
Oh, yeah.
A Mythic Odyssey of Theros.
I don't know a
the
ton
Magic the
on
Gathering
them,
race.
but-
They're inherently good aligned, I'm pretty sure, just thinking of
Yeah.
Magic more, because...
They're planar warriors. I would say depends on the climate, but they mostly serve a god. So
Yeah,
I would almost say monstrous.
their god, I'm pretty sure, is like one of the more like good aligned creatures in the Magic universe, if I remember right.
I thought. Wait, wasn't it? Was it? I thought it was. I thought Leonin hated the deities.
The main Leonin I think of as a planeswalker that's like pretty far in the good aligned side, as far as I know.
We could just say we're not experts on that. I don't remember.
Yeah,
doing too
because
much.
as far
I don't know no Magic.
I could
Even
be
though I
wrong.
have
Somebody could yell
Cards
at me.
right in front of me for some reason.
Well, shit.
I don't know Magic
They've
too
been there
well.
forever.
I think Leonin, like it's like a thing of I think something happened that made them distrust the gods, so they're outright just like fuck that. I'm not dealing with that shit.
They're good boys. All that's left, I guess. Let's see. We'll skip Ravnica. We got Kenku and Warforged. That's probably all we have to cover.
Ooh, Kenku. That's an
Kenku are
interesting
weird.
one.
They're the kind where you can't really interact with properly, but I think you could come to an agreement. Not necessarily that there's like cultural differences. It's another one of those individual things, kind of like goblins.
Yeah, I was kind of thinking in the
Like
same
the-
vein as kobolds, honestly, of just them being
Yeah, just funkier.
yeah,
Because
because
it's like
a lot less organized and a
Like-
lot less common.
it's like original idea. Kenku is like the whole thing of like, oh, they can't have like original thought kind of thing. So it's just like
They can. They just have to form them. Or no, you're right. Yeah, that's their whole lore.
yeah, which is also like that's gotten changed over time because
Yeah.
also that's difficult to fucking like. It's one thing of like
They're
you know
so-
you want them to be more of a people, but like yeah.
If you had Kenku in like Planescape Torment or Baldur's Gate or something, that'd be cool. If you have a player, you first offer a Kenku to a player, that is just a mistake. That's bad. Don't fucking do that.
Yeah,
Have
it's
them be
because
NPCs.
it's like a oh man, I've thought about playing a Kenku in a game before, and it's just like I don't know how.
Hassle. The whole gimmick is a hassle, and beyond that, you're just playing
Uh-huh.
a human who looks like a short bird.
Yeah,
Yeah,
So Warforged, final one.
that's
But-
also neutral. I would.
depends on
like, they're
the
made for
climate
wa-
as well. I'd say.
yeah.
You know what? They're a parody of freed slaves. The fact that they were made for war makes me want to say that as an inherent nature. It's like orcs, kind of, where
Because
they're like
that's where
their nature is monstrous. It is evil
is,
and it is made to kill. Them as individuals aren't.
Yeah,
isn't
that's
there
fair.
like a whole I could be wrong because I'm not super well versed with fucking Eberron, but
Ravnica. Or, yeah, I brought that.
Yeah.
yeah, but it's like a thing of I'm pretty sure there are some Warforged, or there might be like a major Warforged where it's like, dude, my purpose was to fucking kill, and that's what I'm gonna fucking do, kind of
Yeah.
thing.
Yeah.
I
Or you could easily have an
even
Ultron situation.
Yeah.
I played a Warforged in a different podcast that I did. It was like the Eberron radio show or something, or whatever one of the
Oh
main-
yes.
Hmm.
Yeah, and I was like a Warforged who's completely lost his identity, and it was fun to just explore the idea that one could become philosophical. But again, that's one of those things where it's an individual basis, which makes them an individual-based race, like more like gnomes or more like goblins than humans.
I I gotta brag on one of my players real quick because he had one of the best gimmicks I've seen with a character before, where he played a
Yeah.
Warforged that was just built recently, and his purpose was to be a gunslinging lawbringer that helps fix the world. And his traits just got more and more goofy as the campaign went on, and he just kept doing strange things. And then the party's just like, "Why do you keep doing this?" And he's like, "I learned it from you." And the whole party was just silent,
I love that. That's super fun.
and realized all the things
That's
he
good.
did, he was to make doing decisions that the party kind of influenced for him.
That's what I
Oh,
wanted
that's
out of that shitty 2 out of 10 movie Chappie.
oh yeah.
Oh, oh, Chappie. I, I think I'd like Chappie a lot more if it didn't feel like a commercial to just that band that
Yeah,
starred in it.
that, that's all I have to say about that. I haven't even seen it in like 4 years, but
And I,
man, the AI would not learn the way it did. It would have been cool if it just went off the fucking rails like right away.
uh, but good overall. Yeah, I feel like that was kind of a rating thing, so we don't really need to do a rating this
No,
episode.
let's not score the races.
I score the races 1 out of 5.
I wasn't a big fan of how fast those NASCARs go. A little scary. I thought people would get hurt.
This is my race tier list. Have you seen that video where it's like the guy like, I'm doing a tier list of all the races, and they're like, yeah, some people will say that these are different, but I'm gonna say that they're basically the same. Anyways, so the NASCAR race of
Oh, good. All right. Yeah, that was fun.
Yeah.
yeah.
Are we done?
Now we are.